What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to be previewing the Thursday night football matchup, Week 6, between the New England Patriots and the New York Giants at Foxborough. A tough place to play, no doubt about it, and a tough team to go up against. And before the season started, this was being touted as the farewell game. I think most of us thought that Eli Manning would be starting this game going into the year, Week 6. And we said Eli Manning versus Tom Brady one more time. Eli Manning versus Bellicheck one more time. Well, we're not getting that storyline. And, at the end of the day, it's probably a good thing. Daniel Jones is getting a chance to mature and get better throughout the course of the season, so he's more ready for his sophomore year, much like Eli Manning did. Now, Eli Manning didn't come in until halfway through the year, but I think it did pay dividends for his second year, the fact that he got some experience, even though Eli Manning did struggle in his rookie season. And Daniel Jones, the last couple of weeks, if we're being fair, hasn't looked great. He hasn't looked bad. I mean, he's definitely made some plays with his legs. And the Giants have asked him to do a whole lot. And in this game, they're going to ask him to do a lot more. And I wish, I give you guys a positive outlook. I wish I could go into this game and say, yeah, 2007 Super Bowl, 2011 Super Bowl, Jake Ballard in the regular season. We could beat this team. We've shown it before. But guys, that's 8 years ago. That's 8 years ago. And there's a completely different team. You've got a new general manager. You've got a new head coach. You've got a new quarterback. You have a new defense. That defense had great pass rushers, right? The 2007 team, obviously, with Strahan, with Tuck, with OC. Tuck and OC back at it with JPP in 2011. I mean, we had unbelievable pass rushers. We had a very strong defense. And that is why we beat the New England Patriots at the end of the day. Eli Manning made plays, no doubt about it. He carried the team in that regular season game, the game in which Ballard caught the touchdown. But our defense, especially in the 2007 Super Bowl, was why we were in that football game. And then Eli Manning, of course, orchestrated the phenomenal drive. But we don't have a defense that can keep us in these football games anymore. We just don't. I mean, this Patriots offense is good. Their biggest strength is their defense. And I'll get into that throughout the video. But, it's not rainbows and butterflies, guys. That's 8 years ago. Coughlin's not here anymore. Eli Manning is no longer the starting quarterback. And even if he was, he's no longer in his prime. We got a rookie quarterback. We all know how rookie quarterbacks go, how they do when they go up against the smartest mind in the sport of football in Bill Bellicheck. He eats them up for breakfast. And I expect him to come out with a game plan that makes it very challenging for Daniel Jones to be successful in this game. Daniel Jones will certainly make some plays with his legs in this game, but it's going to be very tough for him to perform at a very high level against this Patriot defense. And I'm going to jump into the numbers in a minute, and I'm just being realistic, guys. Now, in terms of the injury report, we'll start with the Patriots. The Patriots, from what I've read, only have one guy that may miss the game, and it sounds as if he probably will. He was out of Tuesday's practice, and that is Philip Dorsett, the wide receiver, who's had a pretty good year for the Patriots. He's got just under 200 yards, couple of touchdowns. That doesn't really hurt the Patriots. I mean, let's be real. With the Patriots, it's always next man up. Always has been, always will be. They are a team that has a bunch of guys that know their role, and they're very good at it, and that's what makes them a near impossible team to game plan for. The only thing you could try to do against them is get pressure on Brady and without blitzing. Because when you blitz, he's going to tear you to shreds. It's what he's always done throughout his whole career. He gets the ball out fast. He's incredibly good at reading defenses, knowing what you're going to do, and he picks you apart. The reason that the New York Giants in 2007 were able to get after him was because they were only sending 4 guys and they were getting pressure. In this game, there's a bad matchup. Yes, we have shown the ability to get after the quarterback. We have 13 sacks throughout our first 5 contests. But I don't think we're getting after Brady without sending the blitz. And when we send the blitz, I expect him to hit his guys on quick routes, whether it be Edelman, whether it be James White coming out of the backfield. And it is going to be a very, very tough matchup for the New York Giants in this football game. But in terms of the injury report for the Giants, I mean, who isn't injured? Saquon Barkley, out. It's already been announced. Saquon Barkley, out. Evan Ingram, out. Sterling Shepard, out. Wayne Gallman, out. Our starting running back, our best wide receiver, and our best weapon in the passing game in Evan Ingram, all out for this contest. The offensive line is relatively healthy. The defense is getting some players back. Tay Davis and Alec Ogletree are expected to play in this football game. That is a huge step up. Even though they're not great linebackers, they're much better than the guys we had out there last Sunday who were just getting cooked on the crossing patterns, on the checkdowns to the running back. I mean, Stupar and Mayo just looked lost. They were so lost that Stupar was replaced at halftime by the undrafted free agent Darren Josiah, who played better. But Ogletree, as bad as he's been as a New York Giant, is definitely a huge step up from those guys. So at least we have that. He's coming back, and Tay Davis, who's pretty good in coverage, will be manning the middle for the New York Giants. So that's the injury report. We're getting some guys back on defense. We're losing a ton of guys on offense. Well, not losing. Barkley's been out the last few weeks. Hopefully he gets back to full strength. I expect to see him against the Arizona Cardinals, being that they'll have a 10 or 11-day rest period in between those games. It sounds as if he's close to getting back already. He was a limited participant in yesterday's practice. So, Barkley, I think, will be back for Arizona, and hopefully we get back to health. We get to see our offense at full strength with all the pieces in place for the first time this year, because, of course, Golden Tate missed the first 4 games due to the suspension. So it'll be fun to see Shepard, hopefully. If he's back from concussion, you worry about him. But Shepard, Tate, Ingram, if he could get back to health, he may miss a few more weeks, and Barkley. But I'm looking forward to seeing when we have a full arsenal, to seeing how Daniel Jones performs. But for the Giants to have any chance to compete in this game, and the Giants come into this game, I think, as a 17-point underdog, which is par for the course. Every team that plays the Patriots seems to be between 13 and 17 or 18 points underdog over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They've been destroying teams. For the Giants to have any chance in this game, the offensive line has to play good. They have to. They cannot give up pressures. Nate Solder cannot get beat like a drum like he did last week. He has to play well against his former team. The O-line has to keep us in this football game. Much like the Colts did against the Chiefs, we have to be able to run the ball, control the clock, and keep Brady off the field. We have to make this an ugly football game to be able to compete, much like the Bills did. The problem is the Giants don't have the defense to do that. They just don't. Maybe they could create some turnovers. Maybe they could bat up some balls. They have to win the turnover differential by at least 2, probably 3, to have a chance to win this football game, especially with all the weapons out. Cody Latimer, Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, these guys are going to have to step up. And Daniel Jones, of course, will have to step up. He's going to have to play out of his mind. He's going to have to make a lot of plays outside of the pocket because this New England Patriots defense is scary. The numbers that they have put up over the first 5 weeks are record-breaking numbers. They are on pace to shatter all-time NFL records. That's how good they've been. Now, granted, they've gone up against some of the worst teams the sport has to offer, right? Their first 5 opponents have a combined 5 wins, and Buffalo has 4 of them. Pittsburgh has won. The Jets haven't won yet. The Redskins haven't won yet. And the Dolphins have not won yet. They've gone up against some of the worst teams the sport has to offer and some of the worst offenses. The Bills, their only good team they've played, who's 4-1, their strength is on defense, not so much offense. So that is definitely a contributing factor to how good the Patriots defense has looked. I don't necessarily know they're this good, but when you look at the numbers, I don't care who they went up against. These numbers are beyond scary. They've surrendered 34 points in their first 5 games. 34. They are on pace to shatter the all-time record for points against in a season set by the Baltimore Ravens in 2000. Of course, we're very familiar with that defense, the defense that the New York Giants went up against in the 2000 Super Bowl, led by Ray Lewis, who only surrendered 165 points in the regular season, the fewest total in the history of the sport. Just over 10 points a contest. Well, the Patriots are surrendering just under 7 points a contest at 34 points through 5 contests. And they've only given up 2 offensive touchdowns. One of those touchdowns they surrendered was a pick 6 thrown by the backup quarterback in Falk. So that doesn't even count really against their defense. They've given up 2 touchdowns, none through the air. Through 5 games, they have not surrendered 1 passing touchdown. Their opponents have only reached the red zone in 5 games 4 times. 4 times. They've only scored once in the red zone. This defense has been beyond frightening, beyond scary, and they're going to be coming after the New York Giants in this football game. Like I said, to put it in perspective, they've given up 34 points through 5 games. The Giants gave up 35 points against the Dallas Cowboys week 1. Guys, we better be on all hands and knees praying up to the gods that the Giants could somehow come out with a miracle, because that is what it is going to take. And then when you dive in even further into their numbers, the New England Patriots so far have 24 sacks through 5 games. They are on pace to break the all-time sacks record set by the 1984 Bears. The Bears had 72 sacks over the course of a 16-game season. The Patriots are on pace to have 77. They've also created a ton of turnovers. They have 11 interceptions, which leads the league. They are second overall in the league in turnovers created with 12. It's tough. It is very tough to get after this team. They're led by some of the best players in the league. Jamie Collins might be the defensive player of the year up to this point. He has 4.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 1 touchdown through 5 games. Devin McCourty has 4 picks in the secondary. And Chase Winovich, the rookie. Go back and look at my draft tapes. A guy that I was very interested in the Giants drafting in either the 2nd or 3rd round in this year's draft. The Patriots got him. He already has 4 sacks in his rookie campaign. So this team has been phenomenal on the defensive end. And without all of our offensive weapons, I don't see how we stack up. Maybe Darius Slayton could hit him with a ball over the top. I think the Giants are going to have to take some shots. because in the red zone, they're even tougher to score on, right? 25% of the time they've given up a touchdown, and only 4 times a team has even reached the red zone. So I think the New York Giants have to try to take some shots from the 50, the 40-yard line, try to hit Darius Slayton like they did last week on a big play. Slayton will play a big part if the Giants offense is successful at all in this game. They're going to have to take their shots down the field, try to stretch that defense. I expect the Patriots to do what the Vikings did, which was send the house on nearly every play. Try to disrupt the rookie quarterback, try to make him frantic, try to take away that running game. And the Giants are going to have to get creative. They're going to have to throw some screen passes. They're going to have to block properly. And, yeah, they'll have to mix and match and be creative. Pat Shermer will have to come out with a very good game plan. And I'd like to see a lot more play-action rollout, something we did not see anything of in last week's contest. Granted, like I said, the Vikings were coming with 6 or 7 every time, but I expect the Patriots to do the same. So, this is a big challenge ahead of us. Make no mistake about it. In terms of the offense for New England, Tom Brady, you live and die. When you think Patriots, you think Bill Belichick, you think Tom Brady. And they've been fantastic. They have been absolutely amazing so far this year. Brady's a little bit down, right? 10 touchdowns, 2 picks, just over 1,400 yards with a 63% completion percentage. He hasn't been miraculous, but he hasn't had to be. And some of that includes his bad game against the Buffalo Bills. Outside of that, he's been fantastic. And like I said, the Giants don't pose much of a threat on defense at this point. They're a young defense, inexperienced, and yeah. And then in terms of their weapons, obviously you got Julian Edelman, who's the leading receiver for this team. Just trying to pull up my stats here. Julian Edelman has 29 catches, 336 yards, and 2 scores. Dorsett, who I said will probably miss this game, actually has 3 scores, 197 yards. James White, obviously a big weapon out of the backfield catching the ball. Remember, he had that great Super Bowl where he had like 10 catches for the Patriots. He's got 178 yards through the air. Josh Gordon, 280 yards on 19 receptions and a touchdown. In terms of the running game, they go with Sony Michel and Rex Burkhead. If there is one area where this team has struggled, Sony Michel has not run the ball that well. He's only averaging 3.4 yards per attempt, 262 yards and 3 touchdowns. So they've committed to the run. They're running the ball a lot, but they haven't necessarily run it that effectively. I believe they rank 22nd in the league in yards per attempt. But overall, this is a very good offense with a great defense, and it's going to be very hard for the New York Giants to find a victory on Thursday night. And quite frankly, I don't see a way of it happening outside of, like I said, miracles, recovering an onside kick, creating turnovers, Dexter Lawrence batting some balls up at the line of scrimmage. The Giants come up with it. Brady bobbling a ball, fumbling at the line of scrimmage. They're going to need 2 or 3 turnovers. They're going to need to be plus 2 or 3 in the turnover disparity to even have a chance in this football game, especially with all the weapons we have out. If Saquon Barkley was playing in this game, I'd give us a puncher's chance. Because we saw last year Saquon Barkley could beat teams almost by himself like he did against the Chicago Bears and that all-world defense who went 12-4 that year. Do I think the Patriots are as good as their numbers show? No. I mean, like I said, they're on pace to break the all-time sack record, the fewest points against. I think that has to do with some of the offenses they've gone up against, right? Like I said, 5 wins their first 5 weeks, their opponents, and 4 of which was the Buffalo Bills. So they've gone up against some weak opponents. They'll continue to this week and next week. The Giants at this point are a weak opponent, especially with all the injuries they have, and then they'll be playing the New York Jets, who, they'll be beating up on them as well. So I expect the Patriots to be at least 8-0 starting the year, and we'll see what they do from there. Hopefully the Giants prove me wrong. I'm praying they do. But I've got this one final score, 34-14. New England wins by 20 points, and they cover the spread at home in Foxborough on the short rest. Guys, be prepared. Expect the worst, and maybe we'll get the best. That's all I can say. I'm trying to be positive, but I got to be realistic. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.